was the JFJ representative, the executive director. What's her name? Michael Jackson, Miss Michael Jackson. Why our parents they name her Michael Jackson? You know some of that fight? Them don't nice. Them fi stop it. What kind of Michael business you not call it the lady? Come like then they want one son. What can go so? Anyway, when you hear this, this was an Andre show.
The police said there was a time of death for the incident. The family released footage that suggested otherwise. Remember, this was the footage that showed the young man kneeling down, hands behind his head, seemingly compliant. Then it seems like you hear some gunshot. Look back on Windward Road situation now. Last year, November. The police said shootout, weapons were found at the scene. Only to hear a few days after CCTV footage saying something else, that the 3 men were allegedly executed
by the police.
And then weapons were planted at the scene. So those were the charges that were laid against the officers: perverting the course of justice, planting weapons, and murder. The point that I'm making is the camera and the footage would help in advancing the investigation and give an independent account. And the caution I want to have to listeners: we're too quick to label people as criminals without care. And the people we're labeling as criminals are poor Jamaican citizens.
Repeat that, Michael.
People we're labeling as criminals are poor Jamaican citizens. And without more, we are too quick to label people as criminals.
True.
People don't agree. If you don't agree with our type, agree. We're too quick to label people as criminals. You don't agree? Type agree, no man.
It's something we have to look within. Not because somebody come from an inner city area.
True.
Once there is conflict with the police, them are criminal and so on. And let me be frank as well, as I speak responsibly.
Yes.
Even if someone were guilty of a crime,
due process.
That is why we have the courts.
Due process.
Due process is important. Yes. Section 16 of the Constitution outlines all of that.
Yes.
So in other words, somebody may be perhaps even guilty, of murder and so on. But if in that moment the police goes to arrest them, if that person is not shooting at the police, if they don't have a weapon where the police has a reasonable belief that they may fire or harm the police or another citizen, there is no justification, which is why the use of force policy is very clear, why the law is very clear in how lethal encounters are to be dealt with. The law is very clear on that. The use of force that guide the police is very clear on that. And I want to probe our consciousness when we think about these matters. I believe on your program a few nights ago, you were talking about the Glengough police station matter with the 15-year-old.
Yes.
We are going before the courts tomorrow to represent the child.
Imagine what it feels like to finally break free from the matrix.
So you're going front. Wait. You are going in front of the court for the 15-year-old tomorrow to represent the child. Let us.
I can't speak much on it. But let me say this.
And have you seen the incident of how the police dealt with the senior citizen in Clarendon?
Yes, I saw that one as well. So let me say this to Jamaicans before we start going into some of the numbers and so on, Andre.
Yes.
When you can have people on social media saying a 15-year-old must be a criminal,
wow,
it must be something wrong. He must comply. We have to again start raising our consciousness. Why are we so quick to say that this 15-year-old is a criminal? Let's raise our consciousness and our knowledge and of our rights. So, for example, police see you, Andre, driving your car. They can't just pull you over and say, yo, let me search you, or Mr. Stevens, let me search your vehicle. No. There is a concept called reasonable suspicion in law.
Yes.
So, therefore, if you're driving a grey Toyota, it must be because the police has intelligence to say a grey Toyota was involved in something.
Yes.
Or you were acting in a way that kind of shaky and suspicious. So based on your behavior, there is something to suggest that maybe you are doing something unlawfully. Or as the law says, you have committed a crime, the police see you committing a crime, or they have a reasonable suspicion to suspect that you will be committing a crime. So they may peep in your car and see something that they may raise a question. I wonder if it's weapon that. Mr. Stephen, please exit the vehicle so I can search it. The legal threshold is clear. So when we have a case where a 15-year-old is walking with 3 young females, the question I ask, what was a reasonable suspicion for that child to be asked to be searched in the first place?
True.
The child complied, right? And then you say the child apparently allegedly made some comments. Again, I have to be very careful because I have to balance the advocacy
with the law for tomorrow in court.
Yes. But the child allegedly made some comments. The police didn't find favor with those comments. And from what we have been told by the family and based on witness accounts, it seemed as if the police was offended by what the child said.
That like police.
Yes, and some other comments allegedly, right? And then one of the things we see emerging, Andrea and listeners, when you make utterances, we see a pattern now of retaliatory charges. In other words, the child has been charged with resisting arrest, using indecent language, use of abusive and calumnious language. That's the bad word law that we need to get rid of. Remember, in single matter.
Yes.
Let's go back to Peter Johnson, the taxi driver on Nutsford Boulevard. He was trying to escape getting a ticket. Shouldn't have done that. Take a ticket and go to court. But he was trying to escape that. The police shot him in his leg.
In his leg.
One of one
court, he was there. My right hand was there.
Yes.
Man that day.
That man has been charged for attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
We are representing that matter as well before the courts, which is why I have to be cautious sometimes, Andre. So sometimes when they say, where is JFJ? JFJ is there. But we have...
What can go so?
Yo, man, not even
What can go so?
They don't really want to stop this, but don't hear them something, yeah? What going on with the citizens them of Jamaica? It could be you. So we need to know, alright? So the listen up, people.
Have to be minded when we speak and how we speak. I think we can do better with our communications. At the very least, for example, to say we are representing the matter, but we can't speak more on it. So at least the public.
So you would agree therefore that there has been some shortcomings there. Public advocacy.
I love Sassy.
Well, the communications and specific matters. Because let me say this: if there was shortcoming to the degree, we would not be having this discussion tonight.
True.
Because if you can draw the error of a senator, and it's not the first, we've gotten an
people, Sassy D has a sermon. She has been triggered. She doesn't like to speak, but she is And this is Sassy D call me. I must know. People, it's serious. It's serious. Yes, Sassy D, you're live. Go ahead.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my question is this. These police officer, okay, you remember the video, the time when they went to get a guy and the father stepped in and he was an officer of the law?
Oh yeah, that whole video that Andre played, right?
So tell me something now. If the father didn't step in and prevented them from taking his son away, right? They would have basically took him, like gone with him and did whatever they wanted to do.
The possibilities are endless.
So then tell me something then. So that is it that I'm trying to understand if that means whatever they came for him for just disappear, or he actually didn't do anything, so they're just randomly going into people's house trying to get people.
Well, in that situation, you know, the context of it is the young man came, opened the gate, looked out, and went back in. And the police, in their infinite wisdom, thought that...
But it was a gang member or something going on.
No, it was suspicious that somebody came out of their house, looked out, and went back in. A young man, a teenager. I don't know...
So he thought something was going on.
I don't know how they deduced that from the situation. To me, it sounds ridiculous. But somebody is in their own home, opens the gate, looks out, and goes back in. What are you doing? Why are you in their house? Why are you in their... it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. It doesn't.
Because I was also listening to, what's his name there last night, and a police officer called in. This is who I'm referring to is Jamaica, what do you call him? Hot Topic. Right? And he had a policeman calling and was saying, I guess he left Jamaica from the sound of it. He's not there no more. Because they were setting him up constantly in every aspect of his life. Being in Jamaica as an officer, they constantly kept on trying to find things to stick on him. And him and his partner. And they even, one point, they lock him up. Like, I can't, go through the whole thing of it because you have a show going on. But if you listen to it eventually, where he was, or I can find it and send it to you. A lot of police are targeted because they're not doing what the other officers want them to do, like stealing and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of targeting going on and a lot of wiki going on. And I'm just trying to say, none of this is making sense to me. And it's right to bring out these people because something has to step in and try to, break barrier to the madness.
Yeah, we have to raise awareness and teach the people their rights in their own
It's
defense.
not only scary no more. I don't want my family members as a male coming there and then mistaking him for a gangster or somebody
just because
that
of
might
how
look
they
like a
dress or
gangster.
something. Yeah,
It's scary as someone who want to come there and visit it as a black woman or black family or whatever. This is crazy. It can't go on.
it's true. You're absolutely right.
All right, thanks, Bolo. Later.
All right, yeah, man. Shout out to Sassy D, man. Appreciate the contribution. It's tough, man. It's tough. Let's continue.
Entire video production from another senator are coming to the degree we would not be having this discussion tonight.
True.
Because if you can draw the error of a senator, and it's not the first, we've gotten an entire video production from another senator before. So we have been doing well for the small staff that we have. And remember,
how many members make up your staff complement?
less than 20.
Less than?
We have volunteers and so on that work with us. Not all of them. So like senior lawyers will give us advice on matters, go before the court. So we do have a network. But in terms of the day-to-day management of the organization, you see why it must be easy on us?
No, ladies and gentlemen, they are severely understaffed. They are severely understaffed. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Persons, Mickey?
Look at Andre face.
Probably you need to hire me then as your PR consultant.
They need to.
Get the advocacy out there because...
But you're helping because earlier you said you stand with JFJ and we do welcome that.
This platform stands with Jamaicans for justice as well. Big facts.
And I can't see the comments in the chat, but my mom is watching and she's saying that your students are quite supportive of what is happening now.
Where we are right now, Michael, Jamaicans for Justice is saying tomorrow that you're standing publicly against. Can you tell Jamaica tonight?
But let me be clear. We have never been anti-police. We can't be. You need law enforcement officers to execute their duties when they are doing it lawfully. And that is the important point. So this
all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
I'm so happy she made that clear now because there's a narrative out there about the JFJ. It's like they're against the police or something. Nonsense. And I've made it clear on my platform as well. We need the police. What we don't need is corrupt police.
This is not an anti-police protest. This is a pro-human rights, pro-accountability protest. The numbers that we have been seeing for the past few years, they are alarming. The lowest numbers of police fatal shootings we saw was in 2019 when it dipped to 86. 2020 there was an increase, I believe, to 115. 2021 it rose. Then 2022 about 127, then 134, then 155, then 189. Let's look at the trajectory of where we are. 106 Jamaicans killed. Remember last year it was 189, 106 Jamaicans killed. Ask yourself where we are today. Today is what? April 28th. So when you do a comparison with the corresponding period, that is about 150%. I'm speaking from memory now.
Yes.
150, And remember, every year for the past 5 years, you've been seeing an increase. Yet there is a 150% increase on average compared to last year.
Now, if we are to actually do a simple analysis, all you have to do is multiply the figure of 106 by 3. We're looking at over 300 persons on average is going to be unalived by the police in Jamaica this year if something is not done dramatically to prosecute the ones that need to be prosecuted. Yes, because if they are supported by the government, there's no deterrent. You understand? So it's serious, man. It's serious.
People criticize us and say, don't focus on the numbers. But why is it important to focus on the numbers, Andrea and listeners? Numbers tell a story.
Yes, it does.
Right? So we have never said that these killings are extrajudicial, because remember, the matters don't go before court yet. You don't have the videos for all of them. So we have never said that.
Well,
so
I can tell you the one with the little Riley tonight is
it's also a question. It's concerning. It's outrageous, as a matter of fact. So the question we have to ask ourselves now, if we look at our small size,
yes,
and we have this high number per capita, population size is important. And if at the end of the year, if we follow the trajectory of where we're going, Jamaica may see over 300 at the end of the year. You know, the last time we were at that number, 2010, where we had over 300. And remember, we haven't finished tallying Tivoli incursion. That is what pushed it to about over 360. And the numbers have not yet been finalized.
That is serious. You're telling me that the Tivoli thing not finished yet, like them don't know? That's crazy.
To put that again in our consciousness. Right? And then we talk about the numbers now and so on. Let's look at some of the individual cases. Remember, I called some names earlier,
Yes.
The Winford shooting is among the 2024 incident.
Yes.
3 young men killed. It's because of CCTV, why we know that was blatant extrajudicial and the matter has gone before the court. Romario Sterling, we still don't have a ruling as yet from INDECOM. But the CCTV camera footage is there from the family for us to say, hold on there. Was this an extrajudicial killing? We have to be thinking about these things and ask ourselves, if Gunrod Road was so blatant in what happened, and you have shown this video tonight, how many of such cases
like up the live and share up the live, people. We live, like up the live and share up the live, please.
TV cameras.
You're following me?
But you mentioned just now about INDECOM.
Yes.
How effective is INDECOM in all of this? Many would argue that ever since Terence Williams has left INDECOM, INDECOM has become...
Did you know that ginger can help with...
Question, a good question.
Ineffective. But how effective is INDECOM in all of this? Many would argue that ever since Terence Williams has left INDECOM, INDECOM has become ineffective. What's your take on INDECOM today?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. You see, different people do advocacy differently. I want you to read the reports of INDECOM, Andre. The information is there, and you have seen Hugh Faulkner out there calling for the body-worn cameras, but you can appreciate, again, Hugh Faulkner is different from Terence Williams.
So different style, different leadership.
Exactly. But the information in INDECOM's report is what we are using to do the public advocacy here at JFJ. That is the same information now, But you wouldn't necessarily see Mr. Faulkner speaking like I do, or like you would, because, again, different people advocate differently. And sometimes they can appreciate that state agencies, they have to choose their words carefully, how they speak, when they speak, and so on. So there's that little nuance. But the INDECOM reports, the information is in it, where I also urge media practitioners that we have to do a little bit more reading. Because let me tell you why I say that.
The media practitioners who carrying the narrative of shooting and gauge, and when them done them say gun and all of those things.
Which is why we have to challenge them, which is part of the things that we do. We urge some media practitioners and media houses, be careful. So, because you may be carrying a particular message unintentionally. So, for example, when the police, when there's a police fatal shooting, if in that moment the person wasn't found with a weapon, or even if there's allegations, you have to use the word alleged done. You can't come and make a pronouncement that the man is a done or the man is a murderer, because that's not been adjudicated before the court. So
just as how
media reporting is important.
Just as how the one on Reddit's Road, them say did done. Them never say alleged done, Them say
some media houses did and others didn't.
Can you produce a playback that from, I hope you have it from Friday, how they went? I want Miss Jackson tonight to see what happened. I got a footage of what happened on Reddit's Road. I hope the producer have it, can play it. But in the interim, Miss Jackson, it is too much.
And the same day that incident happened, we got a call from citizens in the community. Why am I flagging that? Jamaica Gleaner wrote an article. Was it this morning?
No, that situation that them just about significant. Wow. Them label the people them as criminal in their report. Them not say alleged. You don't really hear them say alleged. You understand what I deal with? and from both ends them do it. Them say they done for years, so them no says no. A lot of the times them do it, you know. A lot of the times them do it. You know, right?
And what is in that article is the same account that we got. That the person who was killed, he allegedly had the baby in his hand. I don't know if that is the case. When he was shot and the baby fell to the ground. That's the allegation. No, that is a serious allegation for the citizens to be making. So how would the body-worn camera help there? If the police had on the body-worn camera and the citizen made such a statement, the release of the body-worn camera would exonerate that officer right away. There would be no contention between what the citizens are saying and what the officers are saying, because the body-worn camera would readily and easily address the matter. You can read the Gleaner, the Gleaner article on it. It was a similar statement that we got. And once we get different witness reports, then we can speak definitively on where we stand with supporting the family. But for now, just letting you know that this was another complaint that we got the same day the incident happened.
Wow.
Heard you say you have it? I want Jamaica to hear. You know, it was one shot fired, Michael. One shot fired. And
look on this.
One shot of fire. 100 lane, come up again.
Hey, stop it, stop it.
Eh? No, no, phone, no push this out of the house, it look like.
In bed?
Must dead, man, your people are balling, man.
Oh, God. What's your name? What's your friend at the moment?
Don't kill him to us. Don't kill him. Oh, Lord. You know long them are fun? You know long police are fun? And then finally kill him now. Oh, God. You did. I think you clean him, get clean. Oh, Lord have mercy. This wicked.
Really kill him?
Them shot him up.
Really kill him?
Yeah, go over, but them shot him up. Oh, God have mercy, God.
Why Sassy, me don't know if it's a political era or why not, I don't know.
Yeah, long time, I just know.
One shot alone, just one shot. Well, it would be interesting to see what the police report says in that instance. There was a confrontation with the police and he was shot and killed. I don't know. What reports about that?
you heard when the person say, run, go take up the baby?
I didn't hear that one, but that was one of the things that we were told by those who made the reports. And that is something we need to think of. Where was the baby actually? Was the baby in the hands of the gentleman when he was shot? I'm hoping that that is not the case, because that would be far too alarming for us to even contemplate. But you see, Andrea, we're watching the video, and what is important, we don't know when the video started being recorded. And that is why we need a body-worn camera.
The camera.
Because at least, and I hear the comments to say that, and they're nonsensical comments, that because of the type of engagement that is happening, the police will be moving up and down, and then the footage will be shaking. It's nonsense. Let me tell you why it's nonsense. Even if it shake up during the incident, you have audio. Yes. You can listen. But what is important, you will know what happened before the incident happened, and then what happened after. So it paints a fulsome picture. But what we're relying now is amateur video footage, and then what it leads to is speculation, because say in some instances the police was justified in that lethal shooting. Because of what has emerged, it reduces public trust in the JCF.
True.
The body-worn camera also protect the officers. Remember the incident down by St. Mary? We got anonymous video footage as well. We forward them to INDECOM. That was the one a few weeks ago,
where they were at the night.
Yeah, it was night, some event down there, and there was a police fatal shooting. We got video footage. It wasn't clear, but the residents said this is enough to have scrutiny raised about the circumstance of that shooting. And the point that we're making is, had body-worn camera been present it would exonerate our lawful officers. And the unlawful ones now, it would be enough to take the matters to court. Let me plug something for you, Andre, for us to contemplate. Why am I emphasizing timeline now? Go back to the 2024 incident. 189 shootings happened. When you start talking or looking through the reports, only one of those incidents that occurred in 2024 had charges being laid, and that was the Windward Road incident.
Wait. One of the 189.
Yes. Had charges been recommended to played by INDECOM, and then charges actually were laid.
Emotional, damn it.
1 out of 189.
1 out of 189.
No. 1 out of 189. How are you doing, Miss Genesis? That is insane.
Was the one where there was a video footage.
Absolutely. So put in context now. INDECOM had...
Oh, it's only the one that had video footage. So can we safely say that if you don't have video footage, these guys will not be held accountable? That's the reason why the call for body-worn cameras is essential. Ladies and gentlemen, all Jamaicans should stand in solidarity for this call. And this call should not end because the protest ended yesterday. Use your social media. Use your social media. All of you have a personal social media. Let your voices be heard on your TikTok and everywhere.
So we're seeing increased charges being laid, because 2024 it had a total of 24 charges being recommended for charges to be laid. 24. But only one of that 24 was from 2024. The other 23 were from 2020, 2021, 2022. Why am I saying that? 2023 as well. It suggests that without the body-worn camera or any camera footage, it means that we have to rely on ballistics. We have to rely on witnesses.
Yes.
And then let's look at the backlog of the forensic unit. So the families have to be waiting a year or so on before you get enough evidence to put forward a charge against the officer or for the officer to be exonerated. Also put in context, when you go back to Terran Hewitt now, you say we're calling the name so we can appreciate that these are people. Go back to Terran Hewitt. That was the one that the person was shot down by Kingston. I can't remember the street. But in one of those areas where he had SOE and he moved the barrier.
Yes.
And the JDF officer shot him. There were children close by because there's a basic school. The residents complained that before INDECOM could even reach on the scene, the blood and so on started being washed away.
Mighty God.
Whoa, we need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament, shift the election, shift everything. Remove them out there. Take out the cockroach. Take out the thief.
Reach on the scene because there's a the barrier.
Yes.
And the JDF officer shot him. There were children close by because there's a basic school. The residents complained that before INDECOM could even reach on the scene, the blood and so on started being washed away.
Mighty God.
There have been allegations. Again, how do we safeguard the crime scene so that by the time INDECOM arrives, there is enough to say that, we can really do what we're doing in terms of an investigation process. Keep in mind as well, we have witnesses. If to come to our protest tomorrow, some say when we come tomorrow, we won't let anybody know that we're here.
Mighty God. People
because they're fearful. And that is something for the JCF to also examine. Again, this is not an anti-JCF commentary. I want to be very clear, but it's something again for us to put in our consciousness so we can see the systemic gaps that often prevent and hinders INDECOM's ability to even make a recommendation for charges to be laid. You hear me mention the Terran Hewitt case? INDECOM actually made a recommendation for the charges to be laid to the director of the public prosecution. Because remember, the Police Federation took INDECOM to court. And that's how their ability to prosecute and put forward charges were stripped from them. So they made a recommendation for Terran Hewitt to the DPP because the DPP would now rule whether enough evidence is there for charges.
So what happened? What happened in
the DPP recommended that the matter instead go to the Special Coroner's Court.
What?
Your father died. And
Yo, me say the DPP have some things to answer for you, see? When she retire, mighty God. No, sir. All right, my general.
So my wisdom warrior.
Big up to Atta for the press. You know what I mean? I'm glad that she gets clip up that part and you want to react to it. So I want to know what you think in the comment section about that, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to like up the live. Understand? Like up the, you know, like and share. You get me? I say let's get to 20k subs. And please increase the viewership by hitting the like button and sharing the live. Because the videos them really and truly should be getting more traction than they are getting, honestly. Even my live streams. I am grateful for who is here, but I know for a fact that my numbers are being suppressed. Honestly, I mean, even when nobody else is live, it's like my audience just is not getting the notifications. And as a content creator, it is frustrating, honestly, but we still champion on and put out the message the same way. And salute to the people that actually donate. Remember that the donation link is pinned at the top of the comment section. And if you're hardly easy to, the Cash App is open, the PayPal is open, and also the other information is there. All right, let's move on to the next.